Kick it off. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on where you are. Happy New Year for those who didn't meet us last week. Wish you, a successful year and all your dreams come true, all your dream jobs also land. So this call has been running almost since COVID. We do this regularly, and we try as much as possible to make this Q&A open forum for everyone to ask their questions. So, if you are going to ask question, please raise your hand, say your name, role, location, and your question or your biggest challenge. Try to be brief as much as possible. So a quick, housekeeping, this call is recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube after the call for everyone to benefit this call. And also, we try to take a group selfie at the end with whoever wanna be on camera to, help advertise this online through LinkedIn, social media, and promote this community. Today we have a good community and also coaches helping us. So I'll just introduce myself and then pass it on to my colleagues here to introduce themselves. So my name is Ahmed Zayed. I'm an IT career coach and a professional. I've been working previously with Microsoft, Indeed, PwC, Cisco in more than 14 countries all over the world. I'm currently in Ottawa, Canada, and I'm also been working in the US, Austin, Texas, with Indeed for the past 2 years. And I decided to again move to opening my own career coaching firm, futurecareer.net. I'm doing this full time, and I'm, on a mission to help empower IT professionals land their dream jobs in 3 months or less. So that's about me. I'll pass it on now to Coach Mo to give an introduction, then Samer, then Jonathan. You're mute, Coach Mo.
Thank you, Ahmed, for the opportunity. My name is Mahmoud Abu Nil, known as Coach Mo, and I've also been in the IT industry for 25 years now. I've been in Canada and North America for the last 20 years, 10 of which I've been working on projects in the US. I also have 15 years of experience in emotional intelligence and human development. So I combine both of them, the expertise and the education, to make your life much easier into landing your desired job and be empowered with it, and always have fun along the way.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach Mo. Samer, do you want to give introduction?
Yeah, thank you very much. Samer, I am graduated master degree from human resources and training management from UK. And I have been practicing human resources and employment since 18 years now. Worked in different countries and currently working for the city as a human resources business partner. I'm here to answer different questions related to recruitment and how to stand out your applications among other applicants.
Thanks, Samer.
Thank you.
Jonathan?
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Jonathan Tennis. I am a senior customer success account manager, basically a program manager at Microsoft. I've been with the company for about 3.5 years. Before that, I worked in the American defense industrial base, or companies like Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics. I've been a program manager for, I don't know, a little over 15 years. I am not PMP qualified, but know a lot of folks who are, and certainly happy to talk whatever it is when it comes to job search, interview technique, resume building, and networking. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan. Okay, so this again call is open forum, so you can just again unmute yourself and ask your question. We'll be happy to answer it. This is how we learn from each other. This is how we grow. So don't feel shy. If nobody asks questions, then we'll start asking questions and hopefully, help you with our questions to land your dream job. So I'll keep quiet for a minute here, see if someone got the courage to be the first person to ask question. That's always the difficult part, the first person. Okay, so it seems like nobody's having the courage yet. So let's ask a few questions and see. Okay, I see someone raised hand. Okay, Basma, go ahead, Basma.
Hey,
Thank
good
you.
morning.
Good morning. Go
Good
ahead.
morning, everyone. So yeah, my question is like a very general one, which is the agenda for today. And my personal question would be how to promote yourself. Like personally,
I think we lost you, Basma. Hello?
uh,
Sorry, can you repeat that? Seems your internet was fluctuating.
sorry, can you
Can
hear
you?
me?
Now I can hear you, yes.
Hello?
Can you repeat that? Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, sorry
No
about that.
worries.
So my first question is the agenda for the day, and then my second question is specifically for me after like having taken a certificate or something, how to promote yourself, how to promote your new certificate, uh, because it gives you some credibility. So how to make best use of it.
Sounds good. So, just for the agenda, we don't normally have an agenda. This is just a Q&A mostly. We try to, focus on whatever questions people ask to help them with their challenges. So, for your second question, if you don't mind, can you tell us a brief about yourself? What's your role, location, and, what certificate did you really want to promote or use for? And then maybe either me or my colleagues here will help answer your question.
Sure. So my background is IT, but I have switched to cybersecurity 5 years ago. Um,
Cool.
like when I switched to cybersecurity, I got the SANS certificates, both the GSEC and the incident handler. So it gave me credibility in the cybersecurity realm. And then recently, got CISP certified, which gives
Crisp
me some
CISP.
credibility. Yes,
Cool. This is a good one. Okay.
but 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 the problem is I can't promote myself even after getting this certificate. I'm not sure how to like market myself or brand myself, if that's like something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah. So
that's my
so
question.
let me maybe. Yeah. I wanna maybe make sure that I get your question clearly. So it feels like you wanna plan jobs with the new certificate that is maybe better paying and maybe with better companies. Is that your question? This is, what you want to do with this new certification?
Yes, either in my company or in another company. I'm just not able to promote myself in the correct way, even though like I went through the process, I went through the exam, uh,
Okay.
but still I can't promote myself. So if you can help me, that would be great.
Sounds good. So again, I know this is maybe sounds hard, and sometimes people think just getting the certification is the way to go and advance the career, but definitely that's not the case in many areas. And I'll give maybe my 2 cents here, and then I'll pass it on to my colleagues to give you their insights. So I think the challenge here is communication skills, not the certification, and how to really speak about what you achieved and what value does this certification brings to your, let's say, current company, your current employer. You definitely want to see like what does this certification adds to you and your portfolio and your way of solving problems with your current employer. If you think that this certification is able to put you in a different level that would help you promote yourself to solve more problems or maybe solve efficiently the same problem and maybe guide the team, lead the team, and put a process to streamline, the operations with your current company, then that's the way to promote yourself internally through maybe taking initiatives and proposing some solutions again through what you have learned or what you have gained through that certification, because certification itself is good, but it doesn't really add value until you put it in action. So like, again, PMP is a good certification for project management, but if you're already putting the actions in its perspective, maybe you don't need that certification. Like, again, so many project managers, and I was doing, again, project management before getting the PMP, and it was okay. Getting the PMP just can tell the employers more that, oh yes, you know the concepts, you know the definitions, and you know the things. But if you're already doing this for some time, then you don't need to go for the certification. So again, I'll pause here and maybe pass it on to Coach Mo, and then Jonathan, maybe to give their perspectives, and maybe Samer also want to give his perspective at the end. Coach Mo, do you want to take it from there?
Yeah, sure. So Basma, I heard that you have been working in the cybersecurity field for 5 years, you said, right?
Yeah, almost five. I switched to cybersecurity 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So almost 4 years now. Yeah.
Okay. And for your current job, do you want to continue with your current job, or it's not empowering enough? You want to switch in the same field but switch to a different company?
So my my plan now is to promote myself into a more senior position,
Yeah.
regardless of whether it's in my company or outside. But that's my goal
Okay.
right now, is just to promote myself into more senior positions.
Okay. And you find that attainable within your current company?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities within my company, but again, I'm not sure why I'm not able to to do it. I'm not sure, and that's
Okay.
where I need your help. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, just asking some additional questions. Okay, so here's the thing. The way I look at it is, in terms of having the expertise, you have the expertise. In terms of um, like what you're doing the work already. You have the certificates. A place to check. Okay, so this is what I called having, doing, and being. Okay, so doing, I'm doing the work. Having, I have the certificates, right? Doing, I have the experience. Having, I have the certificate. Who I am being is where could be the gap at this point. Okay, and by that, going back to what Ahmed was sharing, okay, the soft skills, the presenting myself, the presenting my value. That's why talking a lot about emotional intelligence. We usually focus about the technical aspects of our job and not the communication around the job, and how I am presenting my value and how I'm interacting in an environment, and whether or not I built an environment that supports me to grow or not. Okay, so in the last 5 years, um, have you ever taken any leadership communication course, emotional intelligence programs, anything on the soft side?
No.
Okay, so that's where I believe it needs a practice, and these things takes time to build. So the way I see it is, you will need help in that aspect, okay, so that you can expedite it. I've built my skills in emotional intelligence over 15 years. Right? So I'm not going to tell you to wait for your next job for 15 years. Okay, but that's where you need the help. I can send you some stuff after the call where you can, for example, I have an exercise called the personal pitch, right? Which allows you in 5 minutes or less to build a way to communicate who you are, what you stand for, and the difference you want to make in less than 1 minute or 60 seconds, right? And how to take that and introduce yourself as such, so that you can build around you some consensus of not what you do, what you stand for, and the difference you want to make, so people are inspired by you and they start listening you as such, so that you have already paved the road for people to welcome you into your next role and your next, which is the seniority that you're looking for, right? What can I hear from what you're saying, that I am convinced that you're senior at this point? Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
And
I think
I'll pass it on for other perspectives as well from my
yeah, I think
colleagues.
the only thing I'd add is, I mean, the cert's amazing. The CISSP, congratulations on that. That is the gold standard. It is an amazingly complex test. I have a lot of friends. I have a degree in cybersecurity. I have absolutely no interest in getting a CISSP, but I also don't want to work in cyber. So I applaud your effort in tackling that, and then also kind of the rebranding. What I'm kind of heard is essentially, I spent a few years doing PSYOP, information operations, and which is all basically sales. All of marketing is all sales. And what we're doing right here, I'm selling you on the fact that I'm experienced enough in the job market which means I'm just old, and I've been working for 25 plus years, that I know or kind of have some suggestions about how to be successful. I think that one of the things that we don't spend enough time honestly talking about with folks who are early in career or rebranding or trying to transition is that fact that you have to spend a lot of time convincing people to give you that opportunity or giving you that chance. And so it's essentially sales. I interviewed recently for a position, and I was explaining kind of my sales philosophy. Sales philosophy is I was trying to sell myself on those people that I was trying to get a job. We're selling you right now. Everybody's selling something every single day. And so I think that spending time, and people get kind of an icky feeling when they hear that, like they're like, "Ugh, I don't want to sell people on it." But the truth is, we're all trying to convince people of these things. So I think that there's a sales and a branding sort of perspective, but also networking. One of the things we talk a ton about in here is networking. I don't know if you have mentors in your current company. I don't know if you've let any of those folks know that you're looking. I don't know if you have anybody that you can kind of quietly plant seeds with. But part of that sort of sales, part of that branding, part of that sort of letting folks know is I'm internal to Microsoft. 99% of the applications that I submit are internal to Microsoft. So I've let folks know quietly. I don't sit there with banging the sort of the symbols, letting every team meeting I go into. I don't tell my boss. I've quietly let my boss know. I've said, hey, look, I am exploring other opportunities. I don't tell them every single time I apply for a job, but at the same time, I quietly let folks know who are in positions of authority or potentially could get me those connections that I need. Of hey, look, I'm looking for another role. If you hear of anything, I was at a networking event the other day, and somebody asked me how I liked, where I'm at, and I said, it's like, so would you be open to? And I said, yeah. And they said, okay, and so they took from that conversation. I mean, it was a 3-minute exchange while we were sort of standing in line waiting, and but they're a close friend. They're somebody I do know relatively well. I just hadn't interacted with them in person recently, and so they took that and they said, okay, I'll let my network know. And so having those folks, having people like that, you can kind of quietly signal and let people know, hey, look, I'm looking for that next thing. Gives you that opportunity to kind of grow. And then the last thing I'll say is just is more of a question for you. Are you willing to explore outside of where you're currently at? Because I know how much people love where they're at. It's safe, it's comfortable, it's what you've known. People, when I tell them I am looking outside of Microsoft, people are like, well, why would you leave Microsoft? I'm like, because I'm interested in the opportunity. I enjoy Microsoft. It's got great benefits. 220,000 people seem to love it here. I enjoy it as well. But I caution people when they get sort of in that position where they're like, well, I never want to leave the place where I'm at. Most people that I've known in careers have had to leave the place where they are in order to advance, because it's easy. There's some studies, there's some articles that have been written. If you're at a company for more than 3 to 5 years, you're probably underpaid. And since money makes the world go round, it's like to think about that and to realize that, like, hey, because it's easier for a company to keep you, but consider. And so I've said a lot. I would love to know, are you willing to look outside of your current company?
Yeah, I'm open to that. I would, like as you said, I would prefer to have this position in my company because of the comfort zone and whatnot. But I'm open to move. I think I'm ready. I'm a little bit
Cool.
hesitant, but yeah.
No, and I love that your willingness to, but and then one other question. I mean, do you have mentors? Do you have people that do you have a network of folks who can help you kind of chart that course? Wherever you are in career, we all should have somebody who's helping along the way. Even if that person is junior, like I've made connections with people who are, 10, 15 years my junior in terms of experience in the workforce, but they have ins with some of the places where I need ins. And so we've developed those relationships just through some of the work that we've had. Do you have a network? Do you have people who are actively championing and sort of rah cheerleading for Basma? I mean, those folks who kind of can get you in those doors, advocates for sponsors, people who can promote who you are?
I believe so, yeah.
Fantastic. I think you're all set then. You're doing all of the right things.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And I really appreciate your feedback here. It's really like informative, and yeah, the part of the emotional intelligence part, really need to work on it.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely a great skill, and leadership is a lot of work. It takes a muscle to be a leader, and definitely promoting yourself internally. That's all communication skills. Samer, do you want to add anything here to what was just mentioned, or go ahead?
Thank you, Jonathan and Coach Mo for elaborating this topic. I will go to a different angle now. Looking at the whole thing, it's to take us to a higher level of positions within the same company, or to allow us to be eligible to apply for another company. If we look at each job, it's articulating and looking at candidates from three perspectives: skills, qualifications, and experience. So skills for sure is kind of the knowledge how to apply what we have learned. So I might know how to create a wooden door from YouTube studies, from books, but I don't have the skills to do it. Then when I practice it, I know how to do it. And then when I accumulate year of experience, then this is the three that HR is looking for. Qualification, we can look at the qualification from two sides: knowledge and certification. And here where your question is going for the certifications. So look, knowledge is, look, when I'm coming from a different country, I can drive my car. When I come to Canada, I still know how to drive the car, but I'm not allowed to drive it. Here where I need a certification. So when you go for a certification, you need to look at the job that you are aiming for. This job does it require a title, a certification? Here where you apply for this certification, achieve it, and become more competitive when you apply for that job. However, even if you have the knowledge, but you don't have actual proof that you have the knowledge, which is called the certification. I hope I answered your question from a different angle.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Basma, for taking this first question. And normally it takes courage to do that, but thank you so much for opening up. Do you have any follow-up? I don't see any hands raised, so as long as you're here, you wanna continue getting benefit, please go ahead.
Thank you. No, I guess I'll let somebody else ask questions. Thank you so much.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you. Okay, so again, I don't see any hands raised, so this is your chance. You have four coaches, who bring tons of wisdom, tons of experience to help you with your journey, with your challenges. So I'm sure there is some challenges that are facing you that are stopping you from landing your dream job. So why don't you share those challenges with us, and let's see, maybe we'll give you a new perspective that you never thought about, and hopefully this will change your life. Okay, go ahead, Mustafa.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. If you don't mind, can you just say your name, role, and location, and then your question?
Okay, so I'm Mustafa. Um, my location, newly I have moved to New York City. I just migrated to the United States 3 months
Oh,
ago.
congratulations.
And thank you for that. So for the last 9 years, I have been working in product management for one of the big corporates for oil and gas in Saudi.
Oh,
And yeah, and it has been really a great experience that I have been working there. But uh, when I started this job, my education background was in petroleum engineering. I have both bachelor's and master's in that subject, and I'm
okay.
working more. And when I started working, I moved towards IT more with the product management aspect. So
Cool.
when I moved to New York, I tried to land my first job over there in the United States, and I'm facing a lot of rejections from all the companies that I have applied to, and mostly I'm applying
Hmm.
to IT and software and all of these AI corporates in New York. There is no oil and gas industry companies over there. So I'm trying to distinguish what is the reason of I'm getting rejections. I'm not even getting those interviews. So
Hmm.
I'm trying to see if it's related to the academic background that is conflicting with the jobs that I'm applying to, or is it that my resume is not convincing enough, or me not having an experience in the USA is causing the rejection to become immediate for any job that I try to apply to.
Cool. No, that's a very good question. Congratulations first for your immigration, and wish you all the best. This is a lot of change and tons of information to digest and absorb in few days or months to settle down and get familiar with the market and understand, how things happen. So let me
Yeah.
ask you a few questions, and then, hopefully, again, I don't see your resume, I don't see your LinkedIn, so I'm a little bit blind here, but I'll ask you a few questions that maybe will help me understand where is your challenge exactly. So, um, how many jobs are you been applying for, let's say, for the past 1 month or 2 months? And also, how are you applying? Like what are you doing to apply? Are you just applying to any job that comes your way from LinkedIn and Indeed or those websites, or are you specifically targeting some company that you really want to work for and what they are need from you and you're updating your resume accordingly. So let me give you a first question. How many jobs did you apply for the past 2 months first?
Yeah, it can exceed over 50, like 50.
50 for the 2 months. Okay. And
Yeah.
are you using the same resume to all those jobs, or are you changing the resume, tailoring it to every job?
Yeah, I know it's gonna be a bad answer, so it's the same resume.
The same resume. Okay, so that little bit explains what's happening here. And again, I don't see your resume, but
Oh,
in today's world, applying with the same resume to every job, that's unfortunately not going to help. Every company, every role, every team, and again, Jonathan works for Microsoft. He knows that every team might have a different style of resumes and different thing that they look for in a resume in order for you to be a fit to that team or that culture. So that might be your first challenge here. The second challenge might be, what exactly are you writing in the resume? And this is again, it's a big discussion, and I'll maybe pause here and let Coach Mo give his perspective, and then maybe Jonathan can add on. So because again, whatever you write in the resume is what gets either filtered through the ATS or then filtered through human beings, HR or recruiters who will read your resume. So I'll pause here. Coach Mo, give it a shot and share your wisdom, please. And you're mute. You're mute.
It's nothing new in this, but it's very useful to remind. So if we break down the cycle of the job hunt, the part where I'm applying, I don't get a response. If I'm applying, I don't get a response, there is most likely, right, 99% something with the resume, right? You're applying with your resume, the resume is phishing, you're getting interviews, you sit on interviews, you don't pass to the next round, there's something is being said in the interviews that deter the interviewers, right? So in your case, as you shared with Ahmed right now, is that you don't tailor the resumes, okay? And I am wondering, I might have missed it because I was interrupted as you were sharing. Um, are you doing any networking at all? I know you're new in New York and your network might be limited, but if you have friends, relatives, and anybody that had you come initially to New York particularly, then leverage these networks. If you don't, then you want to get out of home and spend time networking, going to maybe associations, meetups, New York. And if you're in New York City is a very vibrant city, right? So there's tons of events happening. Check things like meetups, if you want online, Eventbrite, any free events or paid even events if they're not so expensive to attend. Um, uh, Trade shows like for the in the IT industry, somebody doing like development day, Java day, Microsoft, for example, is doing the event since Jonathan is with us. Anything that gets you closer to those decision makers and hiring managers to get yourself connected. There will definitely be skepticism by the employers from your overseas experience. And then you said you were in the oil and field mostly, but then now you're going into the IT. So I'm not clear if in the oil and gas field you were working oil and gas products or you were working IT products within that industry. If you're working still IT within the industry, bridging should not be difficult, but certainly here we're talking to you in the dark, so we don't see your resume, we don't see your LinkedIn account or anything like that. But I'm going to also put something that would make it easier to be mindful of what you need to do to get a job, right? And I call this the 7-piece puzzle, because figuring out the job market now is like really like a puzzle, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so this also has some tips on what is it that you need to take care of in a concise manner. So when I say a 7-piece puzzle, because we know all this puzzle that we used to play and it used to lock us at one point, the old one. I don't know if they're still around in the market, but you move the pieces around, or even if you play puzzle and you try to put the pieces together, it gives you a bigger picture. If you put the pieces wrong or you're missing one piece, it doesn't close. So it's always nice to be mindful of all pieces together and watch out.
I understood. Thank you. I just posted my LinkedIn profile as well. I haven't really invested in it. I'm not sure if it's like a big thing in the US market when if they are looking at the LinkedIn profiles of the applicants.
I
I
can tell
honestly
you
have
it's
not
it's
too
bigger
much
it's
about
bigger
it.
than in the Gulf, but the Gulf is catching up. But yes, in North America, the f- in the most people, what they want to gather information about you to know you. So the public place to go find you is going to be LinkedIn. I can't tell even how many times I went to check people on LinkedIn, even when I attend meetings with people that I don't know, for like, let's say something has to do with business development, all this stuff, and I'm a part of a meeting and I have the emails of the people or the interviewers, for example, on the invites. I take the first name and last name. I go into LinkedIn. I try to check them up, see what they're doing, what their history was. I just started a new contract with Cisco, and I'm in charge of a team, and I looked up the people like to jump directly into work, and I went and looked all my team members before even getting introduced to them. I went and checked all of them on LinkedIn and sort of checked all their background so that I can communicate with them effectively or find areas of overlap and relatedness. So that's what people are trying to do. They're trying to know you. So when you put a strong profile, you're making a first impression, and that's very important to make the first impression right. We're human beings. We're always going to be judgmental.
Yeah, I understood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach Mo. Jonathan, do you want to give your perspective?
Yeah, just to, so for like the companies you're applying for, and you don't have to answer this question. I'm not a visa expert, but bigger companies tend to have the ability to. So are you here on a H-1B visa to where like some of the companies, will look at and say, whether or not they need to maintain employment in order to keep someone, here in the US?
And I have a green card, so
Okay.
whenever that question pops up, I will always say that I don't need that sponsorship.
Fantastic. Yeah, I was just considering, some of the potential reasons why. And I'm not declaring, I've not witnessed any crimes that were committed, but I also have been around and seen people who don't operate in an honest and ethical manner when it comes to interviews, to applications, and there are people who there is bias. There is bias in the world, and to sit on a call like this and act like there isn't is just, I think a terrible way to dismiss people's lived realities. The other thing I wanted to say is, about the market. You're applying, you're not getting a lot of offers, or interviews. Coach Mo, and I quote him all the time on this. I love his perspective on this. The market is the market, and the market right now, you could describe, and it would be accurate to say that the market's pretty crappy, right? It's pretty rough out there. But focusing on that rather than kind of focusing on just the realities that the market's the market, whatever it is, we have to face it. For most roles out there, you're getting 100, 150, 250, 1,000 candidates that are applying. When you sort through and weed through all the ones who just are underqualified or not qualified, you're not really reducing your pile all that much. You're still faced with, let's just say for nice round numbers, 1,000 people apply. Let's say we managed to weed out 900 of them, right? You're still faced with 100 people who are qualified for that. And it really just becomes a sense of being overwhelmed. This is where I talk a lot in the coaching sessions that I do in networking. I call that the big pile. The goal when I talk with anybody who I'm working with is getting from the big pile to the little pile. And that is through networking. That is through kind of letting folks know. That is through, hey, you want to work at a company, leverage LinkedIn. LinkedIn is huge in the US. Leverage LinkedIn and find people who are in that company who can potentially either refer you, either might know the hiring manager, can help, because what you need, and I will tell you, I'm internally looking at Microsoft. I've been interviewed going on 6 times now in the last 6 months of looking, which is tremendous, and I'm so happy. But I've had 0 offers, so I've always been the bridesmaid, never the bride. But throughout that process, the only reason that I've even been interviewed is because of my network. People have pulled my name out of that big pile and put me in the little pile for the interview loop. And it's all because of, one of them came as a result of a guy I served with 20 years ago in the Army. I've been out of the uniform actually for almost 22 years. So this is a guy I served with in the Army 22, 23 years ago. And he happened to know the hiring manager and was like, hey, we should interview this guy for a role on our team. I didn't get it, and that's okay. But just having that opportunity came as a result of that networking. And so and having a network. So it's never too late to start. People are like, well, I don't have a vast network, or I just got on LinkedIn yesterday. That's fine. Everybody started somewhere, right? I started with one connection however many years ago when I got my LinkedIn account. Everyone on this call started with one connection. And so building, and networking with those companies that you want to work for. And then I think that the last thing I'll close with is just that, there's a remarkable amount of determination that it takes to be a candidate in this market. Getting no after no after no. However the email is worded, unfortunately, we've selected other blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Getting those rejections and then just picking yourself up off the ground after you get bucked off the horse and dust yourself off and get back up on it. I think, I want to applaud anybody who's a candidate right now, because it is tough. But I think there is success. You have folks like Ahmed, Coach Mo, Samir, who are all here, invested in your success, never having met you, never knowing anything about your life story. We're invested in your success simply because we want to see you succeed.
Thanks, Jonathan. Samer, do you have any follow-up here, or should we carry on?
Yeah, just quick thing. When you mention about having rejection from the market, what does that look like? Like, what happened that gave you the impression that you are getting rejected?
It's all about the proportion, right? So I applied a lot. I landed maybe 2 communications from these companies, but never an interview. So
Okay.
all of these rejections were accumulated in email replies from the system itself.
Very good. So your perspective that you are looking for a job and not getting a job, that look like a rejection. It sounds like a rejection, which I will identify at this stage. Look, It might be at different cases. Maybe you are not applying enough because looking for a job is mostly a number game. And every company who's advertising for a post, they might receive maybe 1,000 of application and they end up hiring one person. So the reputation of applications will give you more opportunities. It might be also not getting a job of another reason of your resume is getting filtered out by ATS system. It might be also that you are not getting recognized by HR people. So they are looking at your resume and they are not recognizing your one line of branding that lead to the job that they are looking for. And that might be sometimes of some changing of phrases. HR don't know all the industries, and they might be looking for a graphic designer. When they see someone calling themselves previously as art director, they might not link between both. So it looked like a different title for them. It's not their industry. Try to align your resume in one branding that is easily captured by HR. Then the second and fourth level of what could lead to your situation, which you named as rejection, is sometimes receiving auto replies from job applications. You are applying, and suddenly, like it's a 3 a.m., and you are receiving a reply from HR. And I swear, there's no HR working at 3 a.m. to do a screening. Never. Definitely, that's a system replying to you, and nobody have looked at this at your application. So this is also not considered as a rejection. I will say that the only genuine thing that will look like a rejection when you receive a personalized email from a real person telling you that you don't qualify for this job. And then we will look at reasons for that. Or maybe if you have been invited for an interview, but you have been rejected from getting the job, not sorted in, maybe and this is happening many times, like many people is getting the interview and HR is selecting the highest score, so all the 5 people who's been interviewed is qualified for the job. They are able to do the job, but HR is choosing one person who is scoring the highest in the interview. That is also not a rejection. So we need to look at your case in more details to understand why it's rejection. Don't take it as rejection, nothing personal, because this will demotivate you. And when it's a rejection, we need to catch the reason and fix it.
Thanks, Samar. Okay. Mustafa, any follow-ups here before we go to Malcolm?
At least I want to say thank you all for this opportunity. It has been really informative
Okay.
and beneficial for me. So thank you.
You're welcome. I think we'll have this every week now, Jonathan. I changed this, sorry, again, so we keep it every
Ahmed,
week. So yeah,
sorry, just before we move from Mustafa, because I got a chance to look at the LinkedIn while we were talking here. So Mustafa, the way the LinkedIn today looks is very heavy selling the oil and gas, right? So all the listing is saying is screaming oil and gas, oil and gas, oil and gas, oil and gas through that. So very like when somebody looks in, you're already selling them on oil and gas. So it's very difficult proposition to sell them on anything else.
Point taken. Thank you, Mahmoud.
Yeah.
Thank you.
awesome. Thanks, Mahmoud. Okay, Malcolm, go ahead, sir.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead. Thanks.
So I also shared my profile, LinkedIn profile. If you can also have a look there. Here I'm from Ottawa. So when I looked at your profiles, I saw that Mr. Summer, we are in the same city. In fact, I worked. I have visited the WorldSkills for some time ago. But currently, in the past 3 years, I was in the cybersecurity, in security operations and compliance part, which is called GRC. So just 3 months ago, I became laid off. So I was working for a Montreal-based company remotely, and unfortunately, because of restructuring and financial issues, I was laid off. For 3 months, I've been applying almost up to 200 jobs, basically mostly from LinkedIn and some from the Indeed. and also I opened profiles in different places like Monster and Talent, etc. There are a few out there, but in my experience, LinkedIn and Indeed were more where I get the responses. I was able to get like 4 or 5 HR calls, uh, and two or three technical calls I got. But in the end, for example, there were some good opportunities, but I missed. Uh, so probably there were other candidates. They all thanked for your time, etc., and then they went with other probably candidates. For now, there is also 102 process is continuing. Yeah, but my desire is a little bit to work on GRC because I have a strong background in GRC and plus cybersecurity. But currently, because of the job market, I opened a little bit basket a bit large. So security operations, SOC center, GRC, risk analyst, to all positions I'm applying. But there's not resolution yet. Of course, in the meantime, in the past 1 year, I'm actively attending the meetups in Ottawa. There is a good here cybersecurity forum, so I'm attending there. Whatever the meeting, I'm also learning a lot and also networking. That's a good chance. And also in the community. In fact, one community member from I live in Canada, so the one person advised me to join this session. Therefore, I'm here. Therefore, if there's a supporting community, there something is going on, but we couldn't nail. And of course, 3 months passed. Now it's going to 4 months. What are you advising, especially in Ottawa, in Canada market? I'm not sure about the US, but folks from Canada, I need maybe some more help.
Sounds good. Yeah. So thank you so much, Malcolm. And again, I appreciate your openness and sharing, your current challenge. And I'm by the way, I'm local with you in Ottawa, Canada. So maybe one day we can meet face to face there. So,
Okay, okay.
thank you.
I'll add you and send you a short message. Okay, so
Sounds
later.
good. Sounds good. Yeah. So again, I'll maybe ask you a few questions just again to clarify, where you are exactly, and hopefully that would help me and my colleagues here to, give you our perspective and wisdom. So you said you applied for some jobs and you got some interviews. You were not successful to land offer letters from the interview. So, as Coach Mo mentioned, that could be like an interviewing skill. You know, development that you need some help with your interviewing skills. You know, definitely we as engineers, as STEM folks, IT, we like to do the job. We don't really want to be in those communication challenges and prepare for a question that will be asked for in the interview. This is not our sweet spot. Let's be honest. That's not our sweet spot. That's not what we like to do. But unfortunately, if you don't do this, the other people who are preparing for the interview will show up as better candidates. They will definitely take the offer letter. So that's maybe one thing that I highly, highly recommend that you start to look into. The other thing is you opened yourself to different roles, and that's very tricky, and personally, and again, that's my own perspective, you don't need to follow me for that. I feel like, whenever someone do this, they spread themselves thin, and unfortunately their message get very distracted. Like you cannot convince me to one of those profiles if you tell me I'm doing all those profiles. As an employer, again, I'm speaking from an employer perspective. But if you come prepared as one role and you really want to do that role, and you have all the values, you have all the skills, you have all the experience, you have the stories, you have the thing that you've done that can prove that you are the right person for this role, and you can solve the problem that this role provides, then definitely that would give you a better angle than becoming like a generalist, for those roles, because you know employers, when they hire, they have a problem they want to solve, and when they want to solve the problem, they want to definitely get the best value for their buck. The hiring is very painful, for employers. It takes a while. Ramping up is also painful. It takes a while. So it's a big investment. And so if they don't really do a very well structured approach to make sure that you are the right person, they are losing money. Okay.
Yes.
So again, that's my quick perspective. I know we have like less than 10 minutes, so I'll pass it on quickly to Coach Mo and then Jonathan. But again, if you feel you wanna give a follow-up on my what I shared, please
Yeah,
go ahead.
just
Otherwise, yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
I just want to say, in fact, so while I'm extending the things, of course, my, let's say, future ideal role would be GRC, as I said, but because I also my half part in my previous roles, I did security operations, so I got enough experience there. Therefore, I'm basically applying two roles: security operations and GRC roles. That's all.
Those are different roles. Those are different roles. GRC don't do operations and operation don't do GRC, right?
Yeah, but for example, in my previous company, depending on the size and the function of the company, sometimes, for example, the same person can handle. But of course, in, let's say, if the size is big, if the roles are diverse, of course they are diverse.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm just tailoring the resume accordingly. If basically
Yeah.
I get two different resumes.
That sounds good. Yeah, for a resume, that's good that you're having two different resumes. But again, if I open your LinkedIn, I'll see only SEC operations. I don't see GRC. Most of the, I get at least on the title because I don't have the time to go through the details. So you see the point. If you want to land ops, SEC ops, then this is your best thing because you have this in your LinkedIn and you're stating this in your LinkedIn. If you want to have GRC, then definitely you need to change your LinkedIn to GRC. So again, it's all about communication and sustainability and consistency. Because if you're giving me different messages, I'll get distracted, I'll get confused, and then I'll drop as an employer. So this is what happened. This is why I don't like that when people search for job, they search for 2 or 3 different roles, unless they're very, very close. Unless, like project manager, program manager, they're very close, like they're not that far. But GRC and SecOps, they're a little bit different roles. So I again, that's my 2 cents. I'll leave you to think about this, and maybe we can talk later. I'll pass it on to Coach Mo. I'm sure they have better wisdom than mine too. Coach Mo?
Okay, thank you, Ahmed. Okay, so again, Malcolm, the stats. One quick question: do you have a Canadian citizenship?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so did you also the nice thing about what I hear that the GRC, just by pure coincidence, I came across a few weeks back, there was a lot of jobs being posted. I don't know if it was a coincidence or not, and maybe I am seeing also at one point of time, my memory doesn't serve me. Maybe it's more in the US that I'm seeing that. But are you open to remote opportunities from the US and all the stuff? Do you apply in the US as well?
Yes, yes, of course. So
Okay.
the location. So I'm already used to working remotely. No problem for me.
Okay. So give me a little bit more details on the stats. Like, okay, you apply for, let's say, let's say 20 applications. The 20 applications comes back with how many responses, and from these responses, how many interviews?
No, I could say I think up to 200, as I said, made applications during these 3 months. So monthly, which is kind of like 70.
Okay, let's
60.
tell me from the 200, how many people responded positively, and that positive response went to an interview?
I think I got either through email, sometimes by calls, like 5, 6 HR calls I was able to get.
Okay.
So of course there were different scenarios. In some cases, let's say recruiting companies, they just reached me, but in others, they directed the company itself. So
no, I'm talking about direct company. Forget about the recruiters for a second. Direct companies, the end employer. How many in the 200? 3?
Yeah, I could say three. So HR calls were
Yeah,
successful,
they
and
do the
I was
screen.
able to get two technical interviews. I could say that's a series. Uh, two
Okay.
technical interviews.
Okay, so the ratio is good in terms of, I think if you optimize more, as Ahmed was saying, your LinkedIn and optimize again the resume and focus on one of the two and focus on promoting and selling. Let's say it's obvious that the GRC is the one you're passionate about more, right?
Yes.
From how you share about it. So if you attempt, and this is going to be an attempt to for the next months or so and look at the results, optimize your LinkedIn profile and resume and focus on this and see if you're getting more invites for interviews. And if you're getting more invites for interviews, this is where you quickly get help with the interview so that what you say would bridge you to an offer, because you can get an interview and say something. Okay, and I'm saying that out of experience because I see a lot of interviews. I ask my coaches to record the interviews because most of them are doing online. But when I listen into what is being said, sometimes we start very well, and then in the middle we let our guards down and we start saying things that diminish our listening in the ears of the employer. So that if you tighten that and get more interviews, and it's a matter of passing the interviews, then we focus on what is missing on the interview. And just as a side note, you're Turkish?
Yeah, so I have so the origin, but my parents are in Turkey, but I was born in Germany, so it's a little bit long story.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine because I checked your LinkedIn profile and the university. It looked like it was a Turkish university. I'm just saying that so that you know part of the relatedness. Half of my body weight is Turkish food.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Half
But
of
yeah,
my weight is Turkish food. All right. So
yeah. Unfortunately, nowadays, of course, it is not buying for me any job yet.
no. Don't worry about it. It's a minor thing. It's not. Don't think that that's part of the rejection or anything like that. I wasn't alluding to any of that, right? But just saw it on the profile. And this is the thing about the profile. When people read the profiles, you see, when I read the profile, I could relate on that side, right? Okay, so when people read your profiles, it says a lot more than what we think it says, right? And that's where people will get relatedness. So when you go out networking, and we said read the other person's profile, try to see where in the network there's an overlap and try to enter from that relatedness part. It's a very known concept in emotional intelligence where you build relatedness, and like when you go, if you go to Ahmed, to me, and talk to me about something and you don't know me, versus you talk to me and say, hey, I'm a friend of Ahmed Zayed, then now it's a different thing. I perceive you differently. So just keep that in your back of your head while you're also doing your research for a job, and best of luck with that one.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Jonathan, go ahead. Let's do your part wisdom, and then maybe Simon, and then let's then take the photo together. Go ahead.
It's not uncommon to have 200, 200 submissions and not have a ton of feedback. We can look at the feedback or the lack of feedback as feedback. Reflect on what our LinkedIn shows, what our resume shows, how we're presenting ourselves. Do that. Understanding that the market is hugely competitive right now and that there are a lot of other people. So it's really a matter of how much time it takes for you to process through like that rejection or not getting that feedback, and then going like, control the controllables. The things that I talk about are like, hey, I can control my resume, I control my LinkedIn presence, I can control my interview skills. But if somebody's looking for a medical doctor and I'm not a medical doctor, I can't really worry too much about that. If somebody's looking for someone and they see a program manager and that person has one more day or one less day but they present better in the interview, I can't do anything about that other than focus on the things that I can focus on, and constantly sharpen and hone those skills. Networking, interview skills, resumes, those are the things that I can focus on. I can't really worry too much about it. And so emotionally, I know there's an emotional aspect to this. Emotionally, I just try to process it through. The way that I deal with rejection is every single time I get a rejection about a job I didn't get, I go and immediately apply. So that way I have the same number of applications out there roughly, because it is a numbers game. And at the end of the day, it's just a matter of continuing to go like, oh, okay, that hurt. The next one, the one I just interviewed for, if I don't get that role, it's gonna be a huge gut punch. I'm gonna need to take some time to process that. But taking that time is important, but then getting back up and doing it over again. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan. Samer, any final thoughts before we take the group selfie?
Yeah, thank you very much. Malcolm, you really have a great profile. I'm looking at your LinkedIn. I see a consistency with the experience. I see a bachelor degree, and you're really the way you build your LinkedIn is the way HR like it. Definitely, you have a great potential. I will tell you another thing. You live in Canada. Canada is called the Silicon City. There's a lot of opportunities there for you, and the country in general have a great potential and great opportunities. If we are talking about Canada as part of the G7, there is a lot of opportunities here. Every day the companies are advertising and hiring. What is happening basically, the companies cannot see you yet clearly. So only that is the required bridging. We need to see you are qualified and the companies are looking for you. We just need to link both. We need to create bridging. We need to create higher level of visibility for you to receive job interviews. And then when you receive job interviews, definitely you need to work more on the interview skills. My advice to you is to refer to an expert who can actually analyze where are you now, what the gaps you have, and fill it for you and help you to overtake these gaps. You have a great potential, and I wish you all the best.
Thank
Thanks, Samer.
you. Thank you. So, Mr. Ahmed, I don't have your LinkedIn. Can you just share yours? But maybe if you have.
Yeah,
some
I'll share
links.
it. I'll share it again. No worries.
Yeah, so we
Definitely,
can
no worries.
directly connect and then later.
100% will be great to see you in Canada face to
Yeah,
face.
because I'm in the tech city, but I'm not able to find a tech job here.
It's a tough world, so I'll explain later on when we meet soon. Okay, so let's take the group selfie, and then again we can stay maybe for 10 more minutes or so. If anyone else wants to, have some questions, we can try to answer those questions. So if you're ready to be in camera, please join the camera now. This is your time to be a celebrity on social media and then maybe get visibility through this community. Awesome. So anyone else want to join? I'll just give it another few seconds here for anyone who's preparing themselves. So 1, 2, 3. No? Okay. So when I say 1, 2, 3, I want to see a great smile, and then we'll take the selfie.
If you're not coming on camera, you're not getting a job.
I wish it was that easy. Okay. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and smile. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody who joined. Thank you so much, Coach Mo, Jonathan, Samer, for the great wisdom. Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you, Basma. Thank you, Mustafa, for your questions. We learned a lot from you guys, and we hope this was useful for you. Again, this will be weekly. So feel free to come and join us every Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, the same link. We don't change the link, and it's going to be posted on Future Career page on LinkedIn if you want to have the invite on your calendar. So we'll wait maybe for a few minutes. If anyone have any follow-up question, or Malcolm, do you want to comment on what we just shared with you? Feel free. I know you didn't have enough time.
Thank you. I don't have anything else. Thank you very much for your comments and your suggestions.
Sounds good. Mohammed Okasha, do you have any insights? I know, I saw your profile, you're in HR as well. So if you wanna, share any insights, I know it would be great to learn from you as well. If not, maybe we can hope.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Mohammed Akasha. Thank you so much for attending this online meeting. It's my first time here. I would like to be with you for many times. And now I'm not ready for any talk. Just listen to your talks. It's what was so great to listen to these words from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thanks for joining us. Okay, I guess that's it for today. Any final words, Coach Mo, Jonathan, Samer, any wisdom that you want to share with everybody? I have my own wisdom that I'll share at the end, but I want to give you a chance first. You're good? Okay. Okay, so again, stay positive, stay proud. It's tough out there. I know it's tough, but there is jobs. There is people who post congratulations, I landed a job on LinkedIn every day. So there is jobs. Stay positive, stay proud, keep working on yourself, keep learning, keep adjusting. This is how you will get your next job. Thanks, everybody, and see you next Sunday. Take care.